Hi everybody, it's BIllo Beats here again. I'm not at home today. I'm in my hotel room in Scotland. And today I've needed to do this for a very long time, and I've been postponing it, but it's time for me to do it. This is the mixed breakdown of Tim Godfrey's latest single, Cho Cho Cho. This is the year of our Lord 2025. Also, at the time of this video, this is the latest single. Let's go.
Tim Godfrey, I'm watching you.
Oh my God, before I ask you something, suddenly you don't do one. If it no be you, this mountain fall down serious, who will come move on? No other. Praise the Lord, it's not enough, even if I give my all. This your love all deep and much. No other. See my life, it don't be luck. Now the grace, now the talk. Oh my God, when you run out, no be cha-cha-cha, yo. No be cha-cha-cha. Now you patch right see, made the blind man see. No be cha-cha-cha. No other name like the name of Jesus. No be cha-cha-cha. Now you feed 5,000 men with bread. No be cha-cha-cha. No be a gay. I'll put a cha-cha-cha. What do you do all man they feel am? You carry my matter for your head. Always there, never far away. But don't move when it come true on the wreck. Praise the Lord, it's not enough. Even if I give my all, this your love all deep one much. No other. See my life, it no be luck. Now the grace, now in the talk. Oh my God, where I'm no be cha-cha-cha, yo. No be cha-cha-cha. Now you part Red Sea, made the blind man see. No be cha-cha-cha. No other name like the name of Jesus. No be cha-cha-cha. Now you feed 5,000 men with bread. No be cha-cha-cha. No be a gay. I'll put a cha-cha-cha.
That was produced by the legendary, the one and only Mastercraft on the beats, my mentor. So, some of you might be wondering, Villo, you usually work in Pro Tools. How come you're in Logic now? Well, first of all, I wanted to challenge myself and make sure that my mixing skills were not limited to one DAW, LOL. And this song was recorded in Logic by Mastercraft, and he wanted me to mix it in a way where he could have intimate control over some things, that he could simply jump on the system and do something when I'm not there. But that didn't happen, because when he heard the first mix, and he was like, yo, this is perfect. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing you see is the instrumentals. This is useless. This is just a guide track that was first thing you see. And if you can see on the left side, it's basically empty. I'm not processing any of them. Probably just some volume dips, like this particular patch was too low, or this one was, I think this was too loud. The patches aren't even named, the channels aren't even named. Where the work is, however, is on the instrumental bus. So here's the thing about when you're mixing Afrobeats or something, I don't like to touch what the producer is satisfied with. If the producer was satisfied with the sound and the artist heard that beat and decided to jump on it, they're used to hearing that and they love hearing that. If you change that, you just might lose the record, because it's no longer the record they know and love. So what I did, however, was to put this is a clipper, but I'm using it as a limiter on the instrument master, so that when the log drum hits, you see that red? That's the log drum. It's just keeping the log drum and the rest of the music on the same, that way the music doesn't pass a certain threshold. So think of the music like cars at a stop sign, and then when everybody gets to the stop sign, everybody has to stop. So I don't want to use a limiter on that bus because I don't want that pumping sound. But the soft clipper allows me to push as much volume as possible without it getting very distorted. It distorts it a little bit, but it's intentional. It's basically saturation. That is why they talk now grammar. It's basically saturation, just so that I can push that log drum a little bit further in the mix. This 3A, what it's doing is you can see it's basically parallel compression. That's what it is. Look at the mix knob is at 18%, and look at what it's doing. It's basically keeping those low end and the transients of that log drum from cutting you in the ear, but yet it holds it allows it comfort, because it's just like I'm just compressing like 18% or 20% of the signal. I'm not compressing all of it, right? It's just a little bit of parallel compression so that log drum cuts through, but it doesn't hurt your ears. Because I could just bring up the volume. If I bring up the volume, it's not going to sound as good. So this is me compressing a little bit of it and adding the compressed signal back in to the main signal. I don't know how to explain parallel compression again. I don't know how to explain it. So you take a little bit of the signal, let's say like you take a little bit of water, you add Nutri-C inside, and then that Nutri-C, you know, add it in with the main bottle. You understand? So it's like you dilute. Okay, it's like when you're making custard. See how I explain parallel compression. It's like when you're trying to make custard. You first take a little bit of water, use it to make the custard a little bit into a piece of that before you now put the main hot water. So that's basically what I'm doing. Take a little bit of the music, compress it so that the dynamics are not as much, and then add it in with the main music a little bit. That's what this mix knob does. So the mix knob, if it's 100%, it's 100% compression. But I don't want that. I want just 18%, just 20% of compression. You can see that it's not as in your face, but it's still there. That's the point of parallel compression. So that's just to get, that's all that's on the beat. There's nothing else on the beat. Right? The rest of the work is on the mix, it's on the vocals. So we'll start with master. So what you are looking at is basically the guide vocals for the song, right? This was what Mastercraft did and sent to Dr. Tim to record on. But what ended up happening is that it ended up being like part of the crowd reactions. It ended up being part of the song, basically. So if I play,
no be cha cha cha. Yo, no be cha cha cha.
now I can't take credit for the mix of this because this preset belongs to Mastercraft. Like he created it. So if you look at what's there, okay, this one is okay. Let's look at this. Basically, there's nothing on this EQ. Just cutting around 400 hertz and boosting. Well, if you see most of my mixes, all my videos, you will see me boosting these frequencies a lot. 6K, 8K. I don't boost 6K, but after 6K, 8K, 10K ish. So that's what's happening there. A little bit of compression. And this is happening on the individual tracks. Yes, this is happening on the individual tracks. So I listen to look at this amount of compression. That's like 10 dB of compression. That's crazy. And that's a lot of auto-tune. I think that's like the response time was like 6. That's a crazy amount of auto-tune, but it worked. Right? I listened to this, and when I heard it, I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? One of the things, if you want to go far in this mixing industry, you understand that sometimes you don't fix things, right? Remember what I said about not touching the instrumental? It's good, they love it, they just wanted to project it a little bit more, and that's what we did, right? It's also some de-essing. No, I added this.
No be cha-cha-cha.
No, I didn't add this. No, I didn't add this. Not with that amount of de-essing up there.
No be cha-cha-cha. No be cha-cha-cha. No be cha.
So this is what I was saying when I meant when I was saying that I did this mix in Logic, because I didn't want to erase all the stuff Master had done and start all over again. No. I wanted to have that, what he did as is, so I can work progressively, and we're not taking, because he already had the music to a point where he loved it, right? He liked the music, and my job was to take the music from 8 to 100, or from 20% to 100%, right? I did not want to take the music from 20% back to 5% and then start working from 5% to 100. We're already at 20%. How can we take this 20% and make it 100%? Usually that doesn't mean you take it back to 1% or 2%. That's what I'm trying to do here. Now, I'm going through all these things that he did, and some of them are quite crazy because the DSI is doing a lot. But it sounds good. Right? It doesn't sound horrible. It sounds really auto-tuned. And this stuff is buried in the mix. You don't hear it. You don't hear Mastercraft's voice in the mix that much, unless there's one place where he does yeah or something like that.
Yo, no be cha-cha-cha.
But it's just adding to that strength. It's just adding to that push of the vocal. And you can see on the master, I'm not doing anything. There's basically nothing, right? There's a little bit of a delay. This is something I learned from Mastercraft himself. He puts the reverb before the delay. Usually we put delay before reverb, but he did it in a way where the delay now elongates the reverb. It's crazy, but it works. Listen.
No be cha-cha-cha.
Get. And this reverb is simply just a preset. Increase this. Usually he would increase the size, but he didn't do that this time. But anyway, these vocals are not the main course. The main course is the choir. Now, this is where I did a lot of work. This is where I did some work in the song. If you listen to the choir.
No be cha-cha-cha. Now you feel 5,000 men we pray.
Okay. That is a lot of reverb, right? But that was by request. And that's part of what gives the song its sonic flavor. Now, the trick was to have that amount of reverb and still not have a muddy song, such that it's almost like all we can hear is reverb. You can hear that tail is very long, but you can still hear the other things in the song. How did I achieve that? Let me show you. So when I received this, it was like this.
No be cha-cha-cha. Now you feel 5,000 men we pray.
Cheers to Fume. Fume is an amazing vocal producer. He arranged and produced the vocals on this. So this is the EQ. Remember, like I said, I wanted to challenge myself. I'm not using a lot of waves or TBT, or you're not going to see a fab filter EQ on here. I think, I'm not sure, but I don't think you will. So this is basically a roll off at 250. The reason why I rolled off at 250, remember, I was trying to get a long tail without clouding the mix. So I'm leaving all that low end to the log drum, the kick, the percussions. Let the BGVs just be giving me that warmth in the middle. I took out a little bit of 500. Let me show you why. If I boost that frequency. So usually when you boost like this and you sweep, so that's, so I would have got a different frequency, but remember what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to achieve space. Usually space is between 300 to 500 hertz, right? When you cut one of those frequencies, usually around there you will find one that is very, very, like, it makes your ears want to bleed. That's the one you cut, right? When you do that, it gives space to the music. And obviously 1K also. 1K is another frequency that takes a lot of space. It takes up a lot of space, trust me. Like, there will be mixes, I used to have mixes where it's like I couldn't hear any other thing but the lead vocal. But the moment you cut 1K on that lead vocal, all of a sudden you can hear every other thing. because our ears are more sensitive to that frequency. There's something called the Fletcher-Munson curve. It's about the sensitivity of the human ear as it passes through various frequencies. So 1K is one of those frequencies where the ears are very, very sensitive. And if you put a lot of information there and you crowd that place, that particular frequency, you can't hear any other thing. All you're hearing is that. Think of NTA2 channel 10. Right? When you first turned it on, it first goes, that tone is 1K. It did that to catch your attention no matter where you are. It tests the TV. I've forgotten why they do it, whether to test the TV or something, but it catches your attention. Right? There's 1K will always catch your attention. That's the key in the human voice. But sometimes it becomes too much and it takes up all the space in the mix. So that's why you see me cutting 1K there. So you can remember what I said about always boosting high end. I'm always boosting high end. This is just a little bit. I didn't do much. It's just like 1.3 dB, but I still do a lot of it. I think. So the next thing I put is the 76. I learned this from John Blass. Are we 100%? 100%. You can hear there's a little bit of feedback. So they were recording in, I think it was a hotel room. It wasn't a studio. It was probably like a service department or something. The speakers were there, the mic was there. So as they were recording, some of the sound was feeding back into the speaker. That's what you're hearing. But that takes care of itself. Then this here is basically me cutting out all the whistling frequencies. Remember what I said about boosting and finding frequencies to cut. Now this is so that you don't get tired listening to the vocals. And if I leave it, it still sounds good. But after some time, you get tired of hearing it because it causes ear fatigue. So this is me finding those frequencies that are the most fatiguing and cutting them out. Remember this frequency? I heard it when we were sweeping just now. Can you hear that? So. You can't hear that for 10 minutes and not get tired. You can't. Look at this one also. You understand? So that's the kind of thing you're looking for. Yeah. So those kind of frequencies. I cut 500. I still cut it again. Okay. This 800. Yeah. So basically, those kind of things that you know that if I listen to this thing for more than 5 minutes, I'll get tired. You want the song to have replay value, which means that after someone is finished listening to the song, you don't want them to be tired of listening to the song. You want them to be able to come back and say, you know what, I love that song so much, let's play it again. And they're not tired. You don't get listening fatigue from listening to it. You get. Let's keep going. The next thing is an LA2A. You see what I did? I did the shaping EQ first. Then I put my 1176, which is my slow compressor. The 1176 is a slow compressor. What does that mean? It means that it allows the transients pass. Think of, let's say, I want to cut this off. Look at this. Let's say I'm passing like this. Yeah? If I'm passing like this and I pass before, you can see that the tip doesn't come through. But if I come slower, and this guy is coming and I come slower enough, you see the tip passes through right there. That's what the 1176 does. It allows the very first transient pass through so that you can hear the words better. If it's on the kick drum, so that you can hear the kick better, so that the low end of the drums can form properly. Yeah, it does the same thing on vocals. It allows that first, so that you can hear the diction. Not be chop, chop. You want to hear that chop? You get, if you compress everything, you'll be hearing short, short, short. It allows the transients pass, so you can hear chop, chop. Now, the LA2A is a faster compressor, but it has a slower release, which means it will chop off those transients, but it releases in a way where, how do I explain this? It's just a more gentle compressor, so that you don't hear it that much. Right? If an 1176, if you overdo it, you will hear it. You hear the chop, but on a LA2A, you can do a lot more because now it blends everything in. It just blends it. That's a word. That's what an LA2A does. It blends it. So if I press play, you can hear the cha-cha-cha from the 76. 76 means cha-cha-cha. But the LA2A is trying to tell you, okay, calm down. So both of them are working in harmony. If you notice, I put the EQ that is finding the bad frequencies. I put that EQ in between the 76 and the 2A. Very important. That's a very important tip right there. Because first you allow the diction pass, then you remove the bad parts of the diction. The harshness, you remove the harshness, allow it pass first, remove the harshness, then you blend it all together. It's like when you're trimming your nails, you trim your nails first, then you file it. You don't file the nails before you trim it. You trim it first before you file it, so that it can form a proper shape. When you form the proper shape, then you polish it. You don't polish it before you cut. I don't know if that makes sense. Then we're going with a DSR because the S's are just so it's not harsh. Because we kind of overdid it with the compressor. Now the compressors have made it sound amazing, but then the S's are now, especially with the ch. Now it has some harshness in the high end. But I need to have that clarity. I need it to have that audibility, but then you don't want it to be harsh in the high end. First, you've blended it now. We're basically adding some paint over it so that it doesn't hurt to hear. My goal basically is so that I can hear this song for a long time. There's a lot of space for the other things. Now, Soothe is doing the exact same thing. It's finding harsh frequencies and taming them. I don't have to. The way I use Soothe is that I don't touch it. Basically, the only thing I touch is this depth knob. If you can see, it's still on the factory preset. Anytime I use Soothe, that's how I do it. Now, remember I said I boost a lot of high end. Voila! Look at this. Just copy these settings. Basically, this is 10K, very very broad, and I'm boosting about 6 dB. 100 hertz boosting about 3 dB. It gives the 100 hertz gives it body. Look, listen to it without the 100 hertz. Then bring it back. I have. So that boom boom, you don't hear it in the mix. Listen without this. Night and day. Night and day. That plugin is one of my secret weapons. Copy it. This is the Valhalla Vintage Verb. What this is the default preset, basically. I just changed this color to now. That's all. And then I reduced. Okay, that's not all though. Wait. That's not all. Of course, 23%, but the secret here is this low cut knob. When usually it would be like this at 10, I usually take it up to around here, 240. That's one of the reasons why I can have this thing, and remember that first EQ that took off all this low end, is why I can have the vocals present with lots of reverb and you can still hear the music. The reverb is not clouding the music. That's not even all the reverb I have. I still have a very sweet classics here that should be doing. Let's see what this is. What's this? That's what this is doing. Glass room. I remember I wanted to feel like an actual room, like you were they were recording in a service apartment. That's what I wanted to feel like. I didn't want it to feel like, oh, some giants. I wanted it to be relatable, right? The average person is not going to listen to this song in the cathedral. If I boost that, this is what you hear. So that feels like somebody's parlor. Gets. Now this, however, is just a delay. You get that? You get that? It's just a delay. So what is it? It's a ping pong. This is just looking at its default preset. I just changed this to 1/8, then high pass and low pass, so that I don't get the full range. If I left it the way it was, it would have sounded like this. But I didn't want that full range. So I cut that out. Yeah, so. And then add Mastercraft in. You can see that master is just adding push. It's just adding that force to it. So I didn't really need his vocals to be perfect. I just needed them to be forceful.
No be cha cha cha, yo. No be cha cha cha. Yo. No be cha cha cha. No be cha cha cha, yo. No be cha cha cha.
Together.
No be cha cha cha, yo. No be cha cha cha. No be cha cha.
You can hear Master in there doing, "No, you patriot, see, make the blind man."
No be cha cha cha.
Then now we have Moke. Moke is one of the co-producers and co-writers that works with Mastercraft. Vincent, amazing guy. I said Mastercraft, sorry, Tim Godfrey, he works with him. Amazing guy. Check him out, Moke. So he did, I guess he co-wrote, I'm not really sure, but he did some ad-libs on this. So if I take off my processing, so he has already had some auto-tune on his vocals. As you can see, all I'm doing is pan, right? Then there's a couple of, remember, I want space in the record. Remember, low end takes up space, 1K takes up space, 300 to 500 takes up space. So I'm taking that stuff out. Look at what I'm doing to 400. This 500 is probably a harsh frequency. There's a harsh frequency here. I'm taking that out so that I can have space. Then I add the vintage verb. But this preset here, this is Mastercraft. This is not me. This particular preset on Moke's voice, this is Master's work. Remember what I said? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But what I'm seeing here is this is still the default preset. The only thing I changed was this. Remember what I said? I will take it from 10 to 500 so that the low end isn't part of that riff. Sometimes I'll come as far as this bass multiplier and I'll take it down to 0.25 like that, right? Because I don't want any low end. I don't want the reverb to have any low end whatsoever. You get? So obviously there's a little bit more reverb on this as opposed to the 22 point something, 23. This is 33.4, right? But that's all I did there. And then I put soothe after it. Remember what I said? I don't touch my soothe. I leave it at the factory default. Just play with the depth knob. I don't know what they did there. I know it's some resonance suppression, basically what I'm doing by EQ. But the way Soothe does it is so clean. Get Soothe, guys. You can even do the rent to own. Pay $12 a month for a while and then it's yours. Right. So, all the music together sounds like, without Dr. Tim's lead though. Every other thing but Dr. Tim's lead. Hold up, something's wrong. I don't go do something over here. Oh yeah, I forgot this. We had this here, yeah? -4. I think one of my undos messed up. Add Vincent in. You can hear him do that. God in run, ammo. Sweet, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. So see how I tucked him in under the choir. I don't want him overriding the choir. I don't want him, he's not a lead singer, it's just adding ad-libs and stuff like that. So Master produced this in FL. Yeah, he produced it in FL. Then he brought it to Logic for recording. He just brought the stems from FL. And then in Logic, he made this. So if I take out the effects on that, this is what it sounds like. He knows sweet. He's sweet too, he's sweet. But yeah, the reverb kind of helps. But this reverb is done by Master himself. Yeah, he does. So this is what separates a great producer from a good producer. A good producer thinks it's all about, you know, playing the keys, playing the notes. A great producer knows that you tweak those sounds to make them sound good. No sound sounds bad. No sound sounds good. It's how you process it. It's what you do afterwards. So as he's producing, he's putting this stuff on it to see, oh, what does this sound like with reverb on it? What does it sound like with delay on it, right? We have this, a little bit more reverb. On that room reverb, right? So together with the silver verb. So let me teach you how to use silver verb to make it sound good. It's all in this, you see this size here. Forget about any other thing. See this size here, that's what the trick is. If you go to the default presets, I think I can go to the default. You can see that the only two things that changed were this and this. So you take this up, see that? Then you can bring it up so you have more of it. So in with the rest of the music. Now we took it to the back. It now sounds eerie. The next important thing in the music is the guitars. As you can see, there's basically nothing on the guitars. Look, all I have is a 2-way on it. I'm just getting at least 3 to 4 dB of compression. Why? To smoothen it. I want it to enter into the music a little bit. It's catching all those transients. And then this is one of my secret sauce to guitars. I usually roll off the high end from like 2K, 3K down. I take it out. I just found that guitars generally sound better when I cut that out. But there are some cases where I still have to leave that in there. But mostly, I cut that out. And remember what I said about space, low end. I need space. So when I need space, I go for low end first. This high end cut creates space for the lead vocals. Right? But the low end cut creates space for the rest of the music. So that the piano, the pads, the kicks, they can live there. So I don't need all these floating instruments to have that. So I just did this, almost a hard left and a hard right. My pan knob looks like this because these are stereo channels. When I'm panning a stereo channel, I like to come here and choose stereo pan instead of balance. What that does is that it compensates for the volume change as you pan. If you use balance, it's just reducing the volume of the left side to go to when you pan to the right or whatever. But when you use pan, it actually takes the full stereo pan and just moves it. Logic Pro trick. So yeah, I'm doing that for the two. They're just two guitars left and right. Mastercraft took his time to cut and paste. You can see this is not how it was played, but Mastercraft literally took time to create patterns with what was done. Yeah, so music together. The secret to a great guitar sound is a good guitar player. Take it or leave it. Now let's deal with Dr. Tim. The first thing about Dr. Tim is his tag, which you can see has 0 effects on it. The way they recorded it is the way I just put it there. It sounded good, so remember what I said. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I fumbled Tim Godfrey. I'm watching you.
Just reduce the volume and I'm good. Now, let's look at Dr. Tim. Dr. Tim is the only case where you see me using Pro Q3. Right? And what am I doing? I'm taking out frequencies that are hard to hear. Remember what I said about anything that makes you feel like you can't listen to this song a second time. My goal is replay value. Replay value is where the money is. That's how the artist makes money. When you listen to the song and you want to listen to it again, that's replay value. And that comes from taking out bad frequencies. If I hear anything that tells me, ooh, I don't like that, I take it out. So I did this and then I saved it as Dr. Tim Godfrey. Reason why, because I felt I might need it for some of the other songs. So yeah, I've already showed the process of how to do that. You boost with a thin cue, something like this.
I fumbled Tim Godfrey.
You boost with a thank you like this.
Oh my God.
And then you sweep.
Before I ask you something, suddenly you don't do them. If it no be you,
that's too thin.
This mountain for done serious, who will come move them?
Yeah, that's not working because soup is fighting it.
Chris, name the talk, oh, now my God, where I am, no be cha 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 yo. Chris, name the talk, oh, now my God.
You hear that? It sounds like a box to take that out. So that's how that was created. Next thing is Butch Vig. I use this plugin just for the air most times. See this air? You can see that's a tiny number, that's like 0.6. And then sometimes I cut the lows. It's very, very subtle. Very, very subtle tone change. Sometimes I might use the DSR. I'm not sure if I use the DSR or the compressor here. I think I did a little bit.
Chris, name the talk, oh, now my God, where I am, no be cha 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 yo.
Without
Chris, name the talk, oh, now my God.
Just changes the tone a little bit. You don't want to overdo it with that particular plugin. If you do, you're gonna hate it because it'll sound like trash. So you have to be very, very subtle, like 1 dB increments at the most, right? Then I have my 2A. Remember what I said about smoothing vocals?
Chris, name the talk, oh, now my God, where I...
Yeah, because I'm trying to get like 3 to 4 dB, at most 6 dB. Yeah, at most 6 dB, but at least 3 dB of compression.
Chris,
then RDSR.
Chris,
those S's. Now you guys, now in the talk, oh my God, now be cha 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 you. Now you part right C when you wanna see. There's a lot of S's in the song, so
Chris,
the only thing I touch is the threshold and the range. I usually pull down the range a lot so that it takes a lot more of it. Threshold is how loud the S is before it starts reacting to it. Then I have, this is my ultimate secret weapon for mixing vocals, is this guy, the Manly Passive EQ. And the Manly Massive Passive EQ. So what I use this for, if it were BGVs, I would have boosted, say, 3K. But on this particular lead vocal, I just wanted to boost 27K. That's a frequency you're not supposed to hear technically. But trust me, you can hear it.
Chris, name the talk, oh, now my God, where I am, no be cha cha.
The reason why is because it's a slope. It's a slope, so as it's going, it takes out some frequencies before it, but it just sounds so crisp, so crisp. It gives Dr. Tim that crispiness. Right? It gives Dr. Tim that crispiness. And then, to be honest, I actually don't know why I put suit last. I never do that, but I mean, it just worked, so why not?
Chris, name the talk, oh my God, where I am, no be cha cha cha, no be cha cha cha. Now you part right see, made the blind man see, no be cha cha cha.
This is a UAD plugin, by the way. It comes with the UAD Spark. You guys check out UAD Spark. Great plugins. So that concludes the mix of that. The only other thing in the mix is Master's Tag. Basically just silver overnight. So I hope you guys took something out of this. You can see my master chain is off, is because that's just a preset that was put there by Mastercraft. I created the chain, obviously. You can see down here, my name is there, but Mastercraft worked with me to create this, but we didn't use it. It was sent somewhere else for mastering. So I just did the mix and sent them stems for Dolby Atmos and mastering. But yeah, that's the mix of Cho 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 by Tim Godfrey. You guys watch out for the next one.
Praise the Lord, it's not enough. Even if I give my all, it's your love all they want much. No order, see my life, you know the luck, now the grace, now the talk. Oh my God, where I am, no be cha cha cha, yo, no be cha cha cha. Now you part right see, made the blind man see.